Today's top headlines, including a new report just released talking about stimulus checks and a separate report talking about the finances of the American people. These reports plus so much more right here in this video. Let's get right into it. All right, so as always, we have a lot to cover in this video, so let's get into it and buzz our way through these one at a time. First off, let's quickly talk about COVID. I know we're all completely sick of COVID, but let's quickly talk about this report because cases are actually increasing all across the country right now pretty substantially, and I want to let you know what this is looking like as well as what they're now talking about once again. So let's make it quick on this one, but let's work our way through this one. All right, so now the reports are coming out showing that we are now averaging over 94,000 new COVID cases every single day, which is up 25% over last week. Well, hospitalizations are also increasing over 3,000 a day, and that is up over 18% as of last week as well. Well, they're throwing around the dreaded words that probably nobody wants to hear about anymore, which is mask mandates. Yes, now as far as I can understand, nothing has been implemented yet, but these words are once again being thrown around. I've seen them in the headlines a few times today. So let's just hope that's not going to be coming back anytime soon, right? But COVID cases are spiking across the country right now, and they're already anticipating that we will likely be seeing some major spikes here coming this summer and again going into the fall. They're actually calling this one Wave 6. Yeah, we're on Wave 6 already, apparently. That's what they're saying. So, wow, right? Anyway, yeah, when is this whole thing going to be over with? Not really sure, but according to what they're talking about, it's probably going to be a while and probably going to be one of these things that is around for a very long time. And we're just going to start to need to learn to live with it, is according to what they're saying. So anyway, wanted to give you a quick update on that. Of course, I'll continue watching it, and as I get more information, or as any other updates come out, of course, I'll keep you posted on that. All right, let's quickly talk about a couple of things we don't talk about a ton here on the channel, but I want to point these things out to you because these are kind of telltale signs of what may be coming here relatively soon. Now, I quickly want to talk about the stock market. Again, I know that we don't talk about this much, but let me cover this for you. A new report I just read about this said that this year so far, 2022, we are off to the worst start in the stock market since 1970. And when it comes to the tech sector, as in the NASDAQ, this is the worst start in the year in the history of the tech sector, as in the NASDAQ. So, yeah, you can kind of see here how the stock market is faring so far this year. It's not doing very well, which, by the way, it was down a couple more percent today. Even though it did not close at the lows of the day, it was off about 2%. Depending on the index that we're looking at, it was down, a couple percentage points. Again, so a lot of volatility out there going on right now. Now, again, let's quickly talk about the housing market. Again, I know we don't talk about this a whole lot, but we got to continue watching not only the stock market, COVID cases, and again, the housing market, because these are all things that are very influential right now. So remember, COVID is the reason why we got stimulus check number 1, 2, and 3 in the first place. And again, the stock market rolling over and tanking a couple years ago. And we're kind of back on that same trajectory once again right here. And again, the housing market has been on a tear here over the last couple of years. And again, a major bubble that is basically popping as we speak. So again, all of these are potential catalysts to many things that are coming here in the near future. So anyway, a new report that was just released today is showing the sales of new housing units here as of this past month. Here's what they're showing. The numbers are coming in on an annualized rate. By the way, they take these numbers and they kind of annualize them out to kind of project how many houses, as in new builds, are going to be sold this year. So they kind of take the running numbers and then they kind of project out and see, based on these numbers, this is what we're projecting through the rest of the year as far as how many housing units will be sold. New units, by the way. So it came in at 591,000 as of this report that was just released today, which is down 17%. Now, why is this significant? Because the analysts were actually anticipating 750,000 new housing units to be sold this year, and the number is coming in now at 591. So we're down, 159,000 from what they're actually anticipating. So yeah, that's not a very good thing, right? That is kind of a telltale sign that things are slowing very, very quickly here. And a lot of that can be pointed at the raising interest rates from the Federal Reserve, right? So the Federal Reserve has been coming out here over the last couple months here, raising interest rates, which ultimately does impact the interest rates of mortgages as well. So in fact, I was just looking at mortgage rates today. They're about 5.25%, whereas about a year and a half ago, they were sub 3%. So I mean, that's huge. That adds a ton of money to a monthly payment for somebody that's looking to get a mortgage right now. So that coupled with spiking prices and record prices all across the country, you can kind of see how this is a recipe for a little bit of a popping of a real estate bubble, right? So anyway, I know that a lot of us here in the community may not care about that all that much, but at the same time, we got to watch this stuff because remember, what collapsed the market and what created a massive recession back in 2007, 2008, 2009? Yeah, it was the housing market, right? It was basically the implosion of the housing market. So again, are we in for round two? Well, we don't really know quite yet, but it's kind of setting up for that. So anyway, I just want to keep you posted on this because remember, any of this could also prompt additional stimulus checks as well. So anyway, just want to keep you posted with that stuff. All right, let's get on here and continue talking about some other reports. Let's talk about this new report that was just released today talking about the finances of the American people. Well, it's probably not that hard to figure out. A bunch of zeros, right? I mean, seriously, why do they need to have special reports coming out talking about the finances? All they need to do is come out and say, yep, still zero. That's all that people have right now, zero and negative in a lot of cases, right? But anyway, this report came out and showed that 56% of people said that their finances are worsening this month. However, here's what's interesting about it. The last time that this survey came out, a month ago, the last month came out at 48% of people coming out saying their finances are weakening and worsening. So here's the moral of the story. Month over month, in just in 1 month period of time, an additional 8% of people came out and said that their finances are weakening and worsening going forward. 48%, 56% this month. So in 1 month's time, an additional 8% of people are saying that their finances are weakening. That's not good, okay? That is not a good sign, right? Again, we're seeing the stock market roll over. We're seeing the housing market bubble basically popping right in front of our eyes right now. We're seeing these reports here of people showing that their finances are basically not in a good situation. You can kind of see where this is going, right? Again, I'm not here to kind of speculate, but at the same time, I'm kind of here to tell you this is kind of what we're foreseeing going forward in the future. So, a lot of stuff going on right now. We got to watch all this stuff very closely. As I've said so many times, everything here is highly correlated. So whether you're invested in the stock market or the real estate market or anything out there right now, you got to watch this stuff very closely. Also, one other report here that I thought was a little bit interesting. Honestly, I had no intentions of sharing this, but again, I thought it was kind of interesting. A report that was released yesterday is talking about the average age of the cars driving around the road right now. It's actually at a record. The average car driving around the roads right now is 12 years old. Apparently, this is a record. Usually, apparently, the average age of a car driving around is usually newer than that. Honestly, I didn't know that. When I read this report, I thought, oh, that's interesting. I had no clue that the average car age is, newer than 12 years. I thought it would have been older than that. But again, this is just a report that came out. Again, showing Americans probably don't have a whole lot of money right now to go out and buy new cars, right? So anyway, just another report that came out. Now, let's quickly talk about this report that was released today talking about stimulus checks as well as the stimulus packages and the trillions of dollars that have been pumped out over the last couple of years here. This is actually a pretty interesting report. In fact, I might bring my wife Corey in a separate video and have her read this for me because it's very interesting. It gives you a line-by-line play of exactly where all this money went. Now, it doesn't give you every dollar, but it rounds it to the billion. Yeah, it shows you, if that gives you any perspective of how much money we're dealing with, it rounds it to the $1 billion. So, seriously, that's what they do here. Yeah, I don't know. It must be nice to have so much money to work with that they round to the nearest billion. I don't know. Anyway, so here's what the report was showing. Over the last 2 years, the federal government printed and sent out $5 trillion worth of stimulus. Well, here's what they said in this report. Out of that $5 trillion, $1.8 trillion of that money flowed directly into the households, as in the form of stimulus checks, the child tax credit payments, unemployment benefits. There was a whole list. There was probably 7 different items on this list. These are just a few of them off the top of my head that I can think of. But apparently out of that $5 billion, 1.8 trillion of it went out into the form of just payments directly into our households through all of these different programs. At the same time, out of that same $5 trillion, another 1.7 trillion of that went out to businesses. So big businesses, small businesses, through the PPP, the Payroll Protection Program, the EIDL grants and the EIDL loans, as well as a whole host of other itemized expenses again. There's probably 7 or 8 on that list as well. Again, these are just a few off the top of my head that I can think of right now. But again, between just these two alone, between businesses and us, the American people as in households, that accounts for $3.5 trillion of the $5 trillion that went out. So where's the other 1.5 trillion, right? Yeah, right, exactly. You're not supposed to know about that, right? Anyway, so this report that came out, again, I should have my wife Corey come in sometime and read it for you. It's very interesting. It gives you, on the entire report, there's probably, 25, 30 lines of all these, like 193 billion there, 27 billion there, 39 billion there, 67 billion there. Seriously, every line is just like tens of billions of dollars, even hundreds of billions of dollars. It's nuts. It's a lot of money, right? So anyway, this report came out, very interesting. I thought I'd read through it, and you know what? This is what they were talking about in regards to the stimulus checks. So you can see here, the stimulus checks were by far very, very effective. We know that they helped out people in a ton of different ways. We've seen tons of reports about this. We've talked about them many, many times here over the last couple of years. But really, that was $1.8 trillion, right? And realistically, of that $1.8 trillion, if they did it again, they would not need to send out another 1.8. Seriously, 100 billion, 200 billion would get the job done for a lot of people, the lowest income and the fixed income. We've talked about that so many times here on the channel. But all of these other programs out there where they're sending tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, wouldn't need to be done. In fact, they actually allocated that all of just the stimulus checks alone, the 3 stimulus checks, the $1,200, the $600, and the $1,400 stimulus checks, just those 3 checks alone accounted for $817 billion of the $1.8 trillion. So massive, right? And again, like I said, we certainly wouldn't need to do that again. All we would need is about 100 billion, maybe 200 billion at most, and that would get the job done for about 50 million people in a really, really big way. Thousands of dollars into your pockets. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Anyway, these are the reports that I have for you as of right now. Again, kind of a weird day, a lot of different reports coming out now, and just want to boil it all down into this video. I like to give you these kind of comprehensive updates of what's going on throughout the day. A lot of stuff going on, and as I've always said, you got to watch this stuff closely, but that's why I'm here for you, to do all the research, to boil it down into these short videos so that you can stay updated with everything going on during this very busy and honestly just a straight old weird time that we're living through right now. So anyway, I'll continue to be here for you every single day with these reports, as well as helping you out in any way that I possibly can, as that is my dedication to you and this community. So if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video. It's totally free to do so. I'm here for you right by your side every single day. That's my commitment, and I'm sticking to it. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out some of the other thousands of videos right here on the channel. And enjoy your day. I'll catch you again later in the